In a stadium in South Korea, thousands of people scream with excitement, begging the members of the group Hunter X to start their big show. But what those fans don't know is that the members of the group aren't just singers, they're also hunters of demonic creatures. Long ago, demonic beings entered the world to steal people's souls and use that power for their leader, a demon named Guima. But that army was stopped by a trio of magical warriors who had a special power. Their voices could drive away darkness. On top of that, the bond they created with people through their music formed a protective shield called the Golden Hanmoon. Since then, at the beginning of each generation, a new trio of warriors is chosen to continue this mission. After telling this story, Celine turns to her three students Mira, Rumi, and Zoe and tells them that they will be the ones in charge of creating the final barrier. Confident, the three girls prepare for their mission. As night falls, fans arrive at the stadium to watch the last concert of their world tour. But since the girls still haven't shown up, Bobby, the group's manager, gets worried and uses his phone to locate them. On their private jet, the girls chat while eating tons of food to have enough energy for their final show. In that moment, Rumi receives a video call from Bobby, who asks where they are. But the call is interrupted when some fans snatch the phone from the manager to talk to the girls. Bobby quickly gets his phone back and asks why they're running so late. When the girls look out the window, they realize the plane has already flown past the stadium and the flight attendants don't even seem to notice. Annoyed, Rumi tells Bobby they'll be there in a few minutes and hangs up. Then she walks over to one of the flight attendants to demand an explanation. That's when Rumi notices something strange. The woman has demonic markings all over her arm. At that moment, the demons realize they've been discovered, reveal their true forms, and announce that they're going to wipe out all the fans gathered at the stadium. Hearing this, the girls get angry and prepare themselves. They start singing to generate the shield inside the plane and fight the demons using whatever they can find, even a travel mug from the flight. Then they summon their magical weapons, created with the energy of the protective shield, and take down most of the demonic creatures. However, a few of them manage to escape and tear parts of the plane off as they flee. Wasting no time, the girls finish their instant noodles as fast as they can and jump out of the plane, free falling toward the stadium. They land just in time to face the demons who survived the fall, and Zoe throws one of her knives to take down the last one. With the threat under control, the group of hunters begins their concert as planned. During the show, they're thrilled when part of the shield starts to turn golden for the first time. And by the end of the performance, the great magical barrier is completed and spreads across the entire region, trapping all the demons who were preparing to invade the human world again. In the underworld, one of the creatures that had infiltrated the girls' plane arrives before its leader. Even though it's terrified of being punished, it explains that it couldn't stop the girls because they have strong combat abilities. Furious, Guima uses his demonic flame to destroy it, saying he is tired of seeing his monsters fail over and over again. The other infernal beings watch another one of their own get punished and grow scared. At that moment, Gino appears, accompanied by his companions. The young man sings a song as he approaches Guima, riding his demonic tiger and playing his banjo. When Guima asks why he's there, Gino replies that he has a new idea to face the warriors and claims that this time, they'll finally have a real chance to win. Gino explains that, to weaken the Hanmoon's energy, they need to create a fake music group capable of attracting the fans who keep the protective barrier active. Although Guima finds the idea somewhat amusing, he decides to let the plan move forward. But he also asks Gino what condition he wants in return, since he knows the young demon never acts without personal gain. Gino remembers what he did in the past and asks for his memories to be erased. Back at the stadium, the trio gets emotional when they see that part of the Hanmoon has turned golden. After saying goodbye to Bobby and the team, they return to their building. Happy to finally get some rest, Zoe and Mira grab tons of snacks from the kitchen and head straight to the couch to relax. Meanwhile, Rumi decides to release the group's new album to generate more golden Hanmoon as soon as possible. A little later, Rumi walks into a huge wardrobe where she finds the new outfits for their upcoming world tour. She runs to Zoe and Mira, who panic when they see her already wearing one of the brand new costumes. At that same moment, Bobby arrives to tell them that everyone is already listening to their new album. Even though they're exhausted, the girls get excited and decide to keep working. A few days later, the group appears for an interview at a studio in the city and announces that their next concert will take place in just a few minutes, where they'll perform a brand new song. While her friends get ready for the recording, Rumi heads to her dressing room and looks at the demonic markings around her arms. She tries not to think about it, changes her clothes, and returns to the studio to record the new track with her teammates. But suddenly, Rumi's voice cracks, and she doesn't understand what's happening. She asks the producers to redo the take, but she fails again, and Bobby asks if she's really okay. The producer suggests a 5-minute break, which worries Bobby because outside there are tens of thousands of fans waiting for the trio. In her dressing room, Rumi pulls down her collar and discovers that the markings have spread again, affecting her voice. Panicking, she runs away from the building and dashes through the city to get away from everyone. While she runs, she remembers a conversation she had with Celine in the past. It's revealed that Rumi is the daughter of a powerful demon who once had a relationship with her mother, a great magical warrior. To help her stay focused, her mother explained that she wasn't like the demons and that her markings would disappear once the golden Hanmoon finally appeared. Even knowing this, Rumi learned to hide her secret from everyone, even from her best friends, and she decided to keep doing so. After several minutes of running, Rumi reaches the rooftop of a building. She tries to sing the lyrics of the song again, but she can't finish it. Angry and desperate, she screams with all her strength, unleashing a shockwave caused by her frustration, which scares her even more. Hours later, Rumi meets with her friends back at the apartment. When she tells them that her voice is failing, Zoe tries to calm her down and says she knows a way to fix the problem. The next day, the three disguise themselves so they can walk through the streets without being recognized. Zoe takes them to Dr. Han's clinic, where they receive a box of throat medicine that should help Rumi recover. When they walk out, they run into a group of young men, and the girls freeze on the spot, completely stunned by their looks. Rumi bumps into one of them and falls to the ground. The guy doesn't even look at her and keeps walking as if nothing happened. Annoyed by his attitude, Zoe and Mira help their friend up and get ready to head out. But then they hear music coming from nearby and follow the sound only to discover the same young men singing and dancing in the middle of the crowd. It turns out they're a new music group called Saja Boys. During the performance, the girls realize they are actually demons in disguise, and Rumi says they need to take them down as soon as possible. Noticing that their fans are in danger again, the members of Hunter X prepare to attack and try to slip into the venue where the Saja Boys are performing to catch them by surprise. But the demons in disguise already knew they were there. While they're in the middle of their show, they invite Hunter X on stage, forcing them to slide down a giant chute. Frustrated, the girls try to act normal so the fans won't suspect anything. When the performance ends, they sprint after the enemy group, who flee toward a restroom. The hunters rush inside with their weapons ready. However, before they can attack, Jinu opens several portals inside the bathtubs, and aquatic demons come pouring out. Hunter X charge after them, and Rumi runs straight toward Jinu, managing to corner him. Meanwhile, Mira and Zoe fight together to take down the creatures. During the battle, they notice that the Hanmoon is weakening, which allows more and more monsters to appear. Inside one of the saunas, Rumi fights fiercely against Jinu, but he dodges her attacks with ease. Suddenly, he notices the markings on her arm and stops, confused, wondering how that's even possible. Then, one of the demons breaks part of the wall, giving Rumi a clear view of her friends being surrounded by the creatures. Terrified at the thought that her secret might be exposed, she freezes, leaving everyone even more vulnerable. At that moment, Jinu protects her by pulling her into his arms and quickly getting her out of there. He ties a piece of fabric around her outfit to cover the markings. Now that they're hidden again, Rumi returns to her friends, and within seconds the three of them eliminate the last demon. Moments later, an elderly man walks into the restroom and kicks them out without realizing anything. Well, one of the creatures that managed to hide begins slowly stealing his soul. Back at the hunter's building, the girls look out at the city and grow worried as they notice that the Hanmoon continues to weaken. Suddenly, Bobby appears and tells them that the Saja boys are dominating every social media platform. Fed up with the situation, Rumi announces that it's time to write their next big hit, and the three get excited at the idea of finally defeating those demons once and for all. Later that night, Rumi steps out onto her balcony. There, she's startled by a sinister bird that leads her to Jinu's demonic tiger. The creature delivers a letter, and when Rumi opens it, she discovers it's an invitation from the leader of the Saja boys to meet later that very night. A moment later, the tiger teleports away, and even though Rumi isn't fully convinced, she decides to accept the invitation and goes to meet the boy. When she arrives, Rumi tries to attack him by surprise, but realizes it was only a mannequin. And when she finally sees the rival group's leader, she launches herself at him again. The young man tries to calm her and explains that he just wants to talk, telling her that Guima was behind everything that happened in her life. Jinu reveals that, in the past, his soul had been trapped by the demon lord. Feeling that they share the same pain, he asks Rumi to tell him how she got her markings. But she refuses and tries to attack him again. The boy teleports instantly, leaving her even more irritated. As the days go by, the girls continue working on their new song, and between sessions they hunt down the demons that show up because of the Hanmoon's damage. Jinu's demonic tiger keeps bothering Rumi, so to keep her friends from finding out, she tries to hide it inside her room. A few days later, the girls get ready for a fan signing event, but suddenly, the Saja boys show up and surprise them. To avoid splitting the fans apart, they say everyone will sit together. So both groups end up signing everything in the same place. Thanks to this, fans start creating theories about a possible collaboration between the groups. And some even say the girls might be dating a few of the Saja boys later on. While Rumi is writing lyrics in her room, Mira suddenly walks in. With great effort, Rumi manages to hide the demonic tiger, which now follows her almost every day. Realizing she can't keep concealing it forever, she decides to stop ignoring the invitations and finally meets with Jinu. Meanwhile, the demons continue capturing souls across the region, and more people begin disappearing throughout the city. When Jinu and Rumi meet, she tells him that she's found a way to free him from Guima's control, revealing that the demon lord will lose his power in the human world once the golden Hanmoon is born. Rumi asks Jinu to help Hunter X become popular again, because if they can form a strong bond with their fans, they'll be able to create a barrier capable of banishing Guima forever. She also says that if he truly wants to be free, he can stay in the human world after the golden Hanmoon and live completely on his own. Even so, Jinu isn't sure whether to accept. At that moment, a bracelet seller approaches and hands one to Rumi to convince him. She asks Jinu to keep the bracelet and tells him that the only way to be free is by defeating the great evil lead. Days later, the trio is on stage rehearsing for their concert. Rumi says she doesn't like the lyrics they've written, and her friends stare at her, confused, asking why she's acting that way. Suddenly, a huge shockwave sweeps across the area. Thinking a horde of monsters is about to appear, they cancel the rehearsal, leaving Bobby alone once again. The girls climb onto the roof of a subway station, where hundreds of demons march toward them. To protect the passengers, they launch themselves with everything they've got, taking down dozens of creatures while singing their new song to weaken them. Although they manage to push most of the demons back, a massive monster catches Rumi off guard and hits her so hard that it sends her flying. Mira and Zoe immediately run to help her. With a combined attack, Mira drives her weapon into the ground and destroys all the demons around them. But it's already too late. When they make it down into one of the subway cars, they discover that every passenger has been captured by the infernal monsters. Hours later, Rumi meets with Jinu again. As they talk, she admits that ever since she started speaking with him, her voice has begun sounding normal again. Soon after, the two of them start singing together. And when they finish the song, Jinwoo realizes he can no longer hear Guima's voice in his head. Thanks to that, the young demon finally agrees to help her, promising that he'll make sure his group loses popularity during their next performance. Overjoyed, Rumi decides to head home. But right at that moment, Jinwoo is dragged back into the Infernal Lord's domain, where he's forced to relive what he truly did in the past. As he remembers how he abandoned his family at a critical moment, Jinwoo begins to panic. Guima tells him he will erase those memories if Jinwoo follows every single one of his orders. The next day, the girls manage to reconcile and decide to choose another song for their upcoming concert. That very night, the stadium fills once again with hundreds of thousands of fans, and the host announces the big event. As the girls walk toward their dressing room, they cross paths with Jinwoo and his group, who are heading to the stage. Rumi notices that Jinwoo's expression is far more serious than before. Excited, the host announces that the Saja Boys' performance is about to begin. But suddenly all the lights go out, and the crowd is left completely confused. Minutes later, Bobby runs to the girls to warn them that their rivals just got into a fight on stage, and that this is their big chance to win all their fans back. Filled with hope, the girls rush to the stage and begin their performance with tremendous energy, firing up the entire audience. During the song, Zoe and Mira step off stage so Rumi can do her solo. But before they can return, they see security dragging Bobby away. Without thinking twice, they run to help him, only to discover it wasn't Bobby at all, but 3 demons in disguise who had tricked them. At that moment, the lights in the venue shut off again. A new song begins to play, and Rumi realizes it's the lyrics they had decided to discard the day before. Suddenly, a pair of demons appear, transformed into her friends. They shove her and surround her on stage. The creatures rip off her golden outfit, exposing her marks for everyone to see. Desperate, Rumi starts screaming, and her voice shatters every light in the arena. When she runs off stage, she finds her friends, but they don't dare get close. Terrified, Rumi tries to explain what's happening and begs them not to leave her alone. But that only scares them even more, so much that they pull out their weapons to defend themselves. Completely devastated, Rumi runs away. On the way, she encounters Jinwoo and asks why he did all of this. The demon replies that everything he told her before was a lie, and that she should accept what she really is because nothing can change it. After arguing, Jinwoo leaves. Feeling guilty for everything she has caused, Rumi completely gives in, leaving a dark, corrupted trail behind her. At the same time, Zoe and Mira realize that the honeymoon is about to disappear completely, and Bobby silently watches the group's fan numbers drop at an alarming rate. Soon after, the Saja Boys appear on every screen in the venue. Jinwoo announces that they are going to pay tribute to the K-pop girl group that was destroyed after the disaster, and says they will perform a show, inviting everyone to attend. Before Zoe, Mira, or Bobby can react, they begin hearing voices inside their minds. They lose control of their bodies and, just like the rest of the audience, start walking toward the location of the show. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and his group wait for the start of the Great Demonic Banquet. When the show begins, they sing their new song while wearing their true demonic outfits. As the performance progresses, Guima grows larger and larger, while the Saja Boys float above the stage using their powers. The audience falls into a hypnotic trance and begins walking straight toward the infernal cracks. But just when everything seems lost, Rumi appears and stops the performance using her voice. Thinking himself unstoppable, Guima says there's nothing left to do. But the girl keeps singing, ignoring him completely. Thanks to her, Zoe and Mira break free from the hypnosis and snap back to reality. The 3 start singing together. To stop them, Guima summons thousands of creatures. But the hunters aren't afraid. They use their weapons to destroy every creature, while their voices make the honeymoon shine again and regain its strength. Happy to be reunited, the 3 girls hug, and in that moment, their outfits transform into new versions. Without wasting time, they rush toward the stage. But Guima absorbs the energy of all nearby demons and unleashes a massive blast of fire straight at Rumi. At the same time, the Saja Boys prepare to attack Zoe and Mira just before Rumi is hit. Jinwoo appears and saves her, apologizing for everything that happened. Desperate, Rumi begs him not to leave, saying she only wants everyone to be free. Jinwoo tells her that now it's possible and he offers her his soul. The moment he does, Rumi receives immense power. Filled with strength, she strikes Guima with a blow so powerful it splits him in two. Then she charges straight at him while her friends defeat the Saja boys one by one. To end everything once and for all, the three girls fly together toward Guima. With the power they've received from their fans and their renewed bond, they manage to defeat him completely. Thanks to their victory, the Hanmoon is fully restored across the world. And as the fans cheer endlessly, the girls feel overjoyed to have defeated the threat. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think about this movie.